Hello friends!
Hi everyone!
My friends, we've talked about doing this video for a very long time now. At least it was her idea, and it's a good idea for a video actually, because on this channel we like to talk a lot about cultural differences, and I like to show those things in the streets. But this is a subject that a lot of people, it's very easy to tick people off if you say one little wrong thing. And in this day and age, people are very vindictive and they'll want to hurt you just because they're offended by something. And so I've always avoided that, especially because this is a channel where I don't like to talk about controversial subjects. I like to try to bring people together and make people laugh. But in this video, I'm going to be a little bit less jovial than usual. So, Imabel, what are we talking about?
We've watched a lot of American TV shows, and I've seen all these stories of people who said the N-word, and these have been like big scandals in America. So I've been wondering why it's like that. And so Travis helped me understand it better.
Yes, I've been trying to explain to Imabel, because you got to understand, in the Philippines and in the language of Filipino, there's no certain word that's taboo. They have swear words and words that can be considered offensive, but there's no particular word where if someone uses that, it's like their life is over, they can't work again, it's a major scandal. There's no equivalent to the N-word in the Filipino language or even in the Filipino culture. And we've just been seeing this story come around where it was a cell phone video of these drunk frat boys acting stupid, and not only did they say the N-word, they actually referenced lynching someone, which of course, it goes without saying, that's completely disgusting and a terrible thing. However, you could also say, well, that doesn't make it any different than your average rap song. But Imabel, you brought up the point that in the Philippines, you do hear the N-word being used, and you shed some light on why that is. Can you explain?
Yes, here in the Philippines, you'd hear people like kids on the street, teenagers, and even adults say the N-word, and there's no big deal to it. And I guess they say this word because they hear it from rap songs of Black American rappers and singers. So I don't really understand how come people outside America can say it after hearing these songs or seeing the music videos. But in America, it'll destroy your life if you say the N-word.
Their belief is, the argument is that they're taking the power out of the word because this was a word used to display power over us, but now we're taking it back. But then there's that standard where if you're born another race from them, like me for instance, or like you, because of the race we're born, you're not allowed to use the same word that they're allowed. So they get very angry, and now it's to a point in society, especially I think because of the internet, it seems like we're coming to a very cruel place in the world where people can anonymously terrorize others and harass others and leak footage to the internet and destroy lives. And even the mainstream media likes reporting on these stories, like this current story about the frat boys. Who are these guys? Are these influential celebrities or politicians? They're nobodies. They're young 18, 19, 20-year-old stupid kids saying something really stupid. It was caught on cell phone, and then it was passed around, became a big viral thing. But is the point of talking about this story and showing the footage, is it because we want to educate people about racism? Because this is the best way to go about it, expelling these kids from school, ruining their lives, creating this scandal over it? Is that the best way to end racism, and that's why people are doing it? Of course not. It's really about taking pleasure in someone else's pain and that thrill that people get, I believe. And you know, from my perspective, I've traveled to so many different countries, and when you go to another country as an American, so many people want to talk to you about it, and they say, oh, you're from America, that's really cool, I've always wanted to go there. You hear that all the time, despite the news telling you that Americans are hated outside the US. I haven't found that to be the case at all. Typically, people come up and they say, oh, I'd like to go to America. And I always say to these people, oh, that's really cool. You know what? I hope you get a chance to visit America or even move to America if that's what they want. I hope you get a chance to do that. because I'm always very confident and I've always been very proud in the American people that Americans in general, they can be very friendly, welcoming, very kind people, but it's very distressing to watch it in a foreign country, to see these news stories coming on, and they're not reported in the local media. It's because we're watching the American shows. But you watch these things and you get the impression that America's full of racists, and then it's also full of people that viciously go after them and go overboard in their punishment. And look, here's the thing about punishment. If you really want to end racism, I don't think giving harsh punishment to people is the way to go about it, because you're not really changing their beliefs. You're going to change the way they act in public. For instance, you can say to me, "Do you believe Allah is God?" And I can say, "No, I don't believe that." But then they put a loaded gun to my head and say, "Now do you believe Allah is God?" And I will tell you, "Oh yes, Allah is our Lord and Savior." But do you think in my head I really believe that? If anything, all you're doing is putting more negative feelings into the world, creating more hate in the world. They're trying to fight hatred and intolerance with hatred and intolerance, and all they're doing is pouring fuel on the fire. And what's the point? And after these kids got caught, they apologized, but it's almost like, what's the point? No matter what, they're not going to be accepted. So they might as well not say sorry because that's not going to do anything. So what else do you think, Imabel?
When you were saying that, I guess it's true that love begets love. Same thing with hate begets hate. And I saw on TV like how people were like, was it like a lot of people were like on a parade, like they're like rallying or protesting against what those teenagers did?
As if they've never said that same word or said something regretful at any point in their life.
Yeah, I hope there can be more love and forgiveness instead of condemning these people. And I think like what Abraham Lincoln, I was reading something about him, like how can America be united if within the country there's division just because of that simple thing? And I'm going to pray for that, I guess. I still look forward to seeing America is a very happy, united nation.
Hopefully that still exists when
I'm gonna go there in God's time, and hopefully love still is spread all over the country and all over the world.
Well, they say to err is human, to forgive is divine. They've been saying that for a few hundred years now. And I think it's something that in these times we really need to take to heart. And here's the bottom line. You're not going to end racism by punishing people, especially over punishing them and creating more anger and resentment. The way you change their belief system is you got to show them people of other races that are good role models. But more than that, if you can get them in an environment where they can get to know people that are different, and one of the best ways to do that, especially in my own experience, is through athletics. I grew up in a place that's mostly white people. The sports teams I was on were pretty much all white people. But then I got recruited to a big college in another state, and the man that recruited me was an African American man, but this guy became a father figure to me, and the skin color had nothing to do with how we saw each other. Of course, I realized he's black. I can see that. I know I'm white. But that was never an issue when talking to each other, when dealing with each other, because he was a coach to me, and he was trying to help me win because something we had in common. We both hated losing and we loved winning. And he's trying to help me get my goal, and his goal is to have winners, and we're helping each other. We're on the same page together, working towards a common goal. And it's the same thing if you're on a sports team. If you can get guys on a team together that are of different races, and they bleed together, they sweat together, and they face common opponents, it's a great way to bond. And then maybe a white kid that's never been around black kids, they could say, oh, these guys, they're not so different than me. And the black kids could see, oh, I've heard, maybe they've heard that white people are against them, but then they can see, oh, that's not the case. These guys are cool too. And it'd be a great way to break down barriers, not through this tormenting people, sending mean tweets to people that were accused of saying something racist. You're not going to end it that way, even though I truly believe that's not what it's about anyways. It's all about creating excitement in the boring lives of Americans, because it seems that you would think too, seeing these news stories, that wow, America must be an interesting place because they must have eliminated things like murder, rape, and theft, things that are actual crimes, and now they're making a big national story of what these kids did that isn't even violating an actual law. So this is food for thought. I think that a lot of you're gonna agree with this message, maybe it resonates with you, but if you don't, hopefully at least you keep an open mind about what we said. And Imabel, this is my channel, and I know you have a lot of your own thoughts, your own opinions, and that's why you have your own channel now, right? And you have a video about this where they can see more of what you have to say. So the link is in the description, guys. Regardless of some of your beliefs and that kind of thing, thank you so much. Until next time.